Eastern Red Cedar is a great native tree on the Great Plains when it's planted in a windbreak or a shelter belt. But out here, it likes to spread and it becomes an invasive. I'm Curt Arens with Nebraska Farmer and Farm Progress, and that's our focus on this episode of Farmstead Forest. I'm standing in a pasture just north of our farmstead here in northeast Nebraska. And we have, as you can see behind me, a mature stand, a windbreak of Eastern Red Cedar trees that we planted about 50 years ago when I was a kid. And they've grown, done really well as a great windbreak. And for the most part, this pasture has remained very clear of invasive cedar trees until about 5 years ago. I'm not sure what the conditions were that made these small cedar trees become invasive in this particular pasture, but they certainly have, as you can see. And this is just something that has been going on all around the Great Plains in pastures all across Nebraska and other plain states in particular. The Eastern Red Cedar tree is a native, and so it is a wonderful tree for windbreaks. It's a true survivor. However, when it's left unchecked by wildfires that used to happen, a century or more ago, it really becomes an invader and can really choke out all of your grazing land resources. Here in Nebraska, Eastern Red Cedar was the fastest growing forestry resource in the state until just a few years ago. Thankfully, there are a lot of control methods available now, including controlled burns, which are extremely effective, mechanical types of equipment that attach to a skid steer or tractor are very effective. There are some herbicide treatments that will work. And, if we want to go old school, we can go back to the hand trimmers and just simple pruning shears if the trees are really small. So that's kind of my attempt today, was to show you in sort of a time-lapse video how fast you can really cut some of these trees. It doesn't take long, especially if the trees are 1 to 2 feet tall. I remember about 30 years ago, I was at a pasture walk demonstration, and we talked a lot about cedar tree control and how you can come out and hand rogue a lot of these cedar trees, especially when they are really small. It works extremely well. If you cut them low enough, they're not going to regrow, which is great. But if you wait until they get a lot bigger, then it's going to take bigger tools than this to handle, a true cleanup. The problem is these Eastern Red Cedar trees, when they're invasive in grazing lands, they take up a lot of water from grass resources. They take up space. They don't let the grass grow. You're losing pasture every year that you allow these things to spread throughout your pasture. And so you're losing resources for your cattle and livestock. There are all kinds of research projects in place right now all across the Plain States, finding ways to control the Eastern Red Cedar. So, it's one of those things where you have to get them early if you can, and if you let them go a little farther, it's going to cost you definitely more money. Well, that's it for this episode of Farmstead Forest. Catch the latest farm news at farmprogress.com or nebraskafarmer.com. And until next time, we hope all is well in your neck of the woods.